Welcome to the Gathering podcast. The Gathering Green. Hold on, let me do it again. I just looked at it. The Greenhouse podcast. Okay. Welcome to the Gathering Greenhouse, a podcast to grow together. I'm Steve, and this is Rebecca here, and she's our children's guru at the Gathering.
Right.
She knows everything about little kids.
Sure.
And
I'm dressed up as a guru.
What does a guru look like, though? I have to wear like a
maybe a wizard hat.
wizard. I was thinking like a Gandhi outfit.
Like any of those cult leaders from the 70s.
Yeah. You should probably be wearing this kind of color right here, like a
We need
mustardy or an orange.
Yeah, an orange. No thanks.
Green.
What do you call those? With the hippy dippy church.
Well, I feel like in student and kids ministry, you don't have to be a guru. You just have to love kids. If you love kids, then that takes you a long way in ministry.
It really does. You're so right about that because I think that it's kind of when you do this particular, we have this particular calling. You've been a youth minister.
Yeah.
Too. I just think God puts a little extra bit of love for kids in you. Mm-hmm. Like I have a lot of it. Like they make me feel peaceful, and I just love them.
Yep. So I've been my daughter's now old enough where she can go down to the bus stop by herself. But I've been she always wants me to come down, and I've been going down about every day with her throughout the school year. Mm-hmm. And I started to kind of get to know some of the other kids down there, and had been going a lot. And then yesterday I came to work early to get some things done, and I missed the bus stop. And then I saw them late in their day, and they're like, "Where were you?" Mm-hmm. I'm like, "Oh, it's funny that I've started to kind of build a friendship with some of the other kids in the neighborhood that I didn't really know that well." So
yeah, their love is easy. They can have. That's why they need us because sometimes it's not the best idea. So I try to never ever take that for granted. And when a kid says they love you, that's precious.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you they love you in different ways. Even the kids who don't behave so great, if they walk by you and bump you in the hall, they just assaulted you, but that's their way of saying I love you.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. I love kids. They're just a constant enigma. You never know what they're going to say. Never know what they're going to do.
Very true.
That's why I think that's one of the best parts of my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that Cade said recently was he woke up from sleeping, and he usually comes down into our bed sometimes and, wakes up there, and he goes, "Mom, I had the best dream ever. Sonic was there, and he asked me to take pictures with him."
Whoa.
It was the greatest experience
Sonic.
of his life.
Bless it.
He was
Guess what? How I got woken up this morning at 1 o'clock. My stomach hurts. I'm like, oh no. But it worked out fine.
Okay. Did she miss
Pepto.
school? Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Little Pepto, and she's going to have a bucket because we have our kids bucket trained.
Yeah.
So if you don't have your kids bucket trained, you got to get them a bucket.
Okay.
Preferably with a handle.
Okay.
And
a
then
real bucket.
A bucket. Well, here's what we use. This is gross. But we used to buy this ice cream that comes with the 3 flavors in the big bucket.
Yeah.
And it was called the party pail.
Yeah.
So that's what we call it at our house. Get the party pail.
So,
and it's got a handle.
I don't know if you guys seen this. There was something circulating Facebook where it was when people realized that the puke bucket was also the popcorn bowl. Have you seen those? where you figure out that it's that giant bowl that you have underneath the cupboard you don't use that often, and it doubles as a puke bowl.
Yes.
Did that happen at your house?
Well, my husband is totally grossed out by that, but so that does not happen.
It doesn't happen.
Not much.
Did it happen growing up at all?
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember.
I feel like at my house it did. It probably didn't. But
I'm sure it did because I was raised by my dad mostly.
Yeah.
So of course it probably did.
Yeah. Okay. So I brought in a little something today.
Oh no, is it food?
It is.
Oh no.
So, for those of you who don't know, Rebecca grew up in Louisiana. She's Cajun,
right.
So I went to the gas station looking for something Cajun to get your opinion on it. And
this will be fun.
The closest thing I could get, because they didn't have anything Cajun, was sweet Southern barbecue.
Okay.
Does that count?
Yes, it counts. It says Southern, it counts.
Do you consider Louisiana Southern?
I do, but we definitely are a subculture. We're very different.
I thought too. Okay.
Okay. Am I tasting these?
Okay, so we have another Southerner, right?
He's borderline.
Southerner. What would you?
I lived on a border state.
Yeah.
So what is Missouri? What do they consider it? What is it like officially, and what is it for people in Missouri?
Missouri is technically Midwest, but if you ask anyone any other part of the Midwest, they say you're from the South.
Yeah.
If you ask anybody from the South, they say we're from the North.
Okay.
And so we don't really fit because we
Yeah.
literally are the center of the whole country.
But here's the thing, because I mean, I haven't visited Missouri very often, but I feel like with Missouri that you have the good Southern cooking, but yet you have the people who like act a little bit more Midwest, but like kind of a little Southern too. You know, like you kind of have the best of both worlds, honestly.
It depends on where you're at in Missouri too, because like St. Louis is different than like Southeast Missouri, which is basically just Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
Well, let's try these. We'll give one to John too.
the food is better.
Let's see.
We'll give one to John.
So Cajun.
Sweet Southern barbecue.
We'll figure it out.
Yum. That's really good.
Very crispy. Actually, it's pretty good.
It is good.
This is a barbecue chip.
It's not that hot
It
either.
just tastes.
Where's the spicy?
It says sweet Southern
Maybe
heat
a little.
barbecue.
Heat.
Heat.
Is there any heat?
It's not generating.
Just slightly at the very end.
For me, no.
So what's your favorite, like
Putting it
what's
down.
something you crave about home, like food-wise? Because I feel like that's always a thing you kind of miss.
Well, here, seafood is expensive.
Yeah.
You know, where down there, I'm from literally like the Gulf of Mexico, like way at the bottom of Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And so there's this place, you can go to like different towns like Pointe-à-Cher, Dulac, and you can go and the shrimpers are coming in their boats. I miss shrimp boats so much.
Yeah.
They're coming in their boats and they get off the dock and you're standing there and they'll sell you these huge shrimp.
Yeah.
For like not that much money.
What's not that much money?
Oh, I don't
mean, I'm
even
sure
know
it's probably
anymore.
been a while.
I think last time I was there, I paid like $3.25 or something a pound for shrimp, and here they're like $8.99.
Yeah.
Of course, this is fresh off the boat. I mean,
Yeah.
this is like
We're fresh frozen.
There's no frozen, yeah. But I actually, one of the things I miss, this is weird, but it won't surprise you guys, is I miss the smell of the water. Because the Bahia smells like a certain way,
Yeah.
and it smells like fish, and it smells like all these things.
So is it like the smell? Like how close were you to the ocean? Was it an ocean smell, or is it just like kind of the
No, it's a bayou
smell?
So, where I'm from is the Mississippi. It's the Delta,
Yeah.
down there. And so I would say there's like, I don't know, 20 or 30 miles of swamp, you know?
Did you own
Like
a
from
fan boat or an?
No. No, but you know people who do. We had my grandpa had a swamp buggy, and
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time in boats, and it's really it's really fun.
Yeah.
really amazing. It's beautiful. Like they're just the flatness.
Yeah.
And then in the parts where when the hurricanes come through, the salt water and the fresh water will mix, and the brackish water, and the water's like black, like this kind of black.
Yeah, real dark.
It's really It's hard to explain. I mean, my heart just sings like as soon as I get on like the overpass on 55. I don't know if you ever driven to New Orleans.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and you go over Pontchartrain.
I love New Orleans.
Me too. It's a great city. Their culture is different than mine though.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But I love that city too. I spent
Yeah.
a lot of time there as a kid because it was only like a 30-minute drive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, as soon as I see that beautiful lake and the swamp, I mean, I almost cry.
Yeah.
Like it's just so gorgeous.
I went over the that Lake Pontchartrain bridge, like what is that? The longest bridge in.
Yes, it's called. What's it called? Now I can't remember. The Causeway, we call it. It's
So
called the Causeway.
I was there with a trip with a bunch of college students, and it was like, oh, you can go home the long way and go across this bridge, or you could go the shorter way. I'm like, oh, let's go across the bridge. Well, it was like midnight, so we couldn't really see anything.
Nothing. Well, I mean, all you see is water.
Yeah.
But here's what I hate about that bridge. There's like where it's pieced together.
Yeah.
It goes da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. I mean,
Yeah, you're
for
right.
miles and miles. Yeah.
Great. Well, this Sunday you got to go up on Mother's Day and talk a little bit about your experience being a mom, and
Yep.
you got to talk about your kids a little bit, and you shared a story from Scripture. Really good job. I'm just gonna say you did
Thanks.
awesome. I went
Thanks.
back and kind of watched some of it today, this morning, just kind of refresh myself on what you talked about. So I got a few questions for
Okay.
you this morning. Out of everything that you got to talk about, is there anything that you wish you would have had time to share with everyone?
Yes, I think sometimes you get up talking and you don't necessarily get to the core of what you wanted to say. And what I was trying to convey to not just moms, but to anybody who worries about their kids, we all do. If you have a kid, you worry about your kid, is that for me, the process of finding the peace that I was looking for, because that's what I was really looking for. And if you didn't hear, my son has a degenerative neurological condition called Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. And so it was a big process of, how am I going to live with this in a way that God wants me to?
Yeah. So your brother passed away from the same thing?
He did.
Exact same thing. Okay.
Yep.
So have they advanced medicine
apparently?
Since then? Okay.
Apparently. So my brother died at 16 when I was 13. I was almost 14 when he died when I was 16. I'm sorry, when I was 13.
Yeah.
And he didn't have access to the stuff that my son does.
Right.
So Garrett has access to steroids that my brother never had access to, and these steroids are amazing.
Wow.
Unfortunately, they have a lot of bad side effects, like they blow you up. So
right.
He's a healthy eater, but he doesn't look like he is.
Right.
Because it blows him up. And now he's got metabolic stuff happening with it. But anyway, so Garrett, my son, has done better than my brother by far, but he also has done better than a lot of kids with Duchenne's.
Okay.
And I can only call that a miracle.
Yeah.
Because, he's 23.
Yeah.
He walked until he was 18 years old. I said this on Sunday, I believe. I probably said a lot of different stuff all three times. I don't know what I said, But he walked till he was 23, and doctors, when you're in a neurological clinic, so this is where you're sitting and all these ologists are coming in, the endocrinologist, the cardiologist, the pulmonologist, all the ologists.
Yeah.
After you have a bunch of testing, they generally won't say, oh, your kid's doing kind of great.
Yeah.
They won't say that to you because they don't want to give you false hope.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get to this part in the talk, but one time, this was 6 years ago, I think, maybe 7. The doctor comes in and she's the big neurologist who's amazing. This one would get down on the floor and crab walk with the kids, to evaluate them and see how they're doing.
Yeah.
It's, your neurologist flops down on the floor. It's pretty cool. Anyway, they tested his DNA again. He'd been tested as a baby, as a 10-month-old baby. And they tested it again just to be sure, maybe this isn't what we think it is. Yeah. But it was. He still comes up as a Duchenne's. And they say he tests more like the lesser MD, not lesser. It's not lesser.
Right,
it's still, yuck, but it's called Becker. So they're checking him for that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid is doing great. This is not how I thought things were going to turn out.
Yeah.
And God had a plan. And God's plan could have been for Garrett to just follow the same course everybody else is following. I mean, you're losing young kids sometimes. You're losing 18-year-olds and, young boys.
Yeah.
But not him. He's still kicking.
Yeah.
And, it's not, you can't explain it. And now we're moving into territory where we have to go find an adult pulmonologist, an adult cardiologist, those kinds of things. And I never thought I would be doing that. It's incredible, to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's God doing his thing. And then, for Garrett, he also has autism and ADHD. And one thing I didn't get to hit on was his development. So he was, your typical autistic. There's really no typical autistic, but he had the quirks, He would line up his cars in these long rows, and if you moved the order, he would come back and he would fix it 3 hours later, those kinds of things. And he didn't talk a lot, he'd isolate himself some, and then he would say this crazy, outlandish stuff. I wish I had written it down. All the stuff that he said over the years. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he is hilarious.
He is fun.
He's very witty.
He is witty and sarcastic. That's our fault. But he's just got this loving heart, and he drives us nuts because he's our kid, But he's great. And I didn't get to tell his first joke, which I think I might have already told all y'all this joke to see if it was funny. But I think it's funny. So Garrett didn't have a sense of humor until he was 15 or 16. He didn't get humor. It wasn't funny to him, when we'd watch stuff on TV. Well, one day, my younger son, who was 15 at the time, and he couldn't wait to get a job, he was so excited to get a job. And he was going through that phase. I don't know why you boys do this, but the phase where you wear shorts in the winter and hoodies in the summer, is that a valid thing to say? Okay, just making sure I'm not being sexist over here. What are you wearing right now? Okay, John literally has shorts and a long sleeve shirt. So he's messing up my theory. So anyway, so Garrett says, "Hey, Quentin, why are you in such a hurry to get a job? Do you need to buy some new sweaters for the beach?" Right? And this is a kid who didn't understand humor 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And now he drops this bomb, and I'm telling you, it
Everyone
brought
was
down
laughing.
the house. Like, we were all dying, like almost rolling on the floor. Like, he just made the best joke ever.
Yeah.
That was so good. Like, so he continues to develop. It amazes me. Like,
Yeah.
his intellect continues to develop. He's 23 years old. So I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but God knew, and I wish I had not reacted to what I thought was going to happen before it even happened.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when my daughter Harper was born, she had a lot of issues going on. They did a DNA test on her just to see what was going on. Like, it takes a while to get the DNA work back. So it wasn't going to help us in the short term, but it was going to help us maybe in the long term to figure out what had happened. But they found out in the DNA test that she was missing pieces of her DNA.
Really?
And so what they said was that you and I might be missing sections of our DNA too. And if it's not important, it doesn't really affect your life that much. But they told us, I don't remember what she's missing, but they said they were able to tell us actually what parts of her DNA was like just gone, like deleted.
Crazy.
And who knew?
I didn't know, and I talked a lot about DNA over the years.
Yes. And we never really ended up finding out actually what caused her to get sick, but she got better, and that's really all that matters.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's joy right there.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So I got some more follow-up questions here for you. The next one is, so the thing that you said on Sunday about the woman on the well, or the woman at the well.
The women at the well.
Women at the well. Yeah. Could you talk, I totally butchered that one.
It's okay.
The woman inside the well.
It's okay.
Yes. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. That is something I think you could preach, a couple sermons about, right?
Yeah.
Because it just hit me. I'm like, okay, you got a woman at the well. When you think of the woman at the well, who do you think of?
The Samaritan one.
Think of the Samaritan woman, right? So I'm like, I'm not going there. I'm type. And then
there's a lot of well references. I mean, obviously, because they lived in a very dry climate, and that was like the meeting spot for a lot of people.
Right.
And there's certain times there's a lot of like etiquette that went along with being at the well, which you don't really realize because we don't need to go to the well anymore.
Yes. Can you imagine if we did though? It would be like,
do you have to wait? I always wondered, did you have to wait in line was there like a queue?
I would imagine.
Like kind of like, oh, how's your day going? Waiting for the water at the well.
They're hobnobbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
get the gossip around the well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it was like, a den of iniquity in a lot of ways.
But we don't have a water cooler anymore either.
Can only have faucet water. No. Anyway, so while I'm going through there and I realize, okay, you got this woman at the well, Hagar. She's a little bit of an outcast because she's a slave and she's Egyptian, right? I'm sure that was part of it. Some woman surely made a snide comment to her about this, along the way, which doesn't feel great. And then, fast forward to the New Testament, you got Jesus with the Samaritan woman, foreign woman, and he knows everything about her.
Yeah.
And she says, you know everything about me.
Yeah.
And she finds her identity in him. Hagar, same thing. She says, you're the God who sees me.
Yeah.
And she finds her identity in him because he's real to her. He's the God who sees her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's crazy. See where I'm going?
To be seen. Yeah.
Yes. Both women are being seen. Both women are in places of distress, and someone comes to rescue them and give them living water.
And both in difficult situations in life, that, we don't know a lot about them, but they're very relatable people in the sense of like, we've all been through situations in our life that were totally out of our control, so you feel a lot of empathy towards someone who just like had a rough life, and I think that those kind of stories is like, that's what's so powerful about grace, it's like, wow, like I am seen, I am forgiven, and I am loved, and those are like qualities in life that we yearn for as humans. We want, there's something inside of us that wants that, everyone wants those things.
And can you imagine?
Especially kids, right? I mean, especially kids, like we don't even understand how important that is to kids. Like is very high up on what their needs are.
Yes. Well, as a kid, I would have loved for somebody to explain that to me, because Jesus and God gave these two women worth, where other people would have said, oh, they're not worth anything. They're, especially the Samaritan woman, at least Hagar was the mother of Ishmael, who was Abraham's son. And even God says, I'm going to bless Ishmael because he's your son, Abraham. Right. So she might have had a little more like stature,
Yeah.
But she's also running in the desert, and she's, I always picture her as huddled up by that well in a little ball. Like, what am I going to do with myself now?
Right.
And I'm sure we've all been at that spot, like with Harper. I'm sure that was like very like.
Yeah. It's hard to even think about it.
Yeah. It's painful.
Yeah, it is.
It's terrible, but but you got through it.
Yes.
And God blessed you. He had a plan, and we all just need to chill sometimes. Right.
This is very true.
Yeah. You chill out.
Okay. I got another question here for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to get it right this time. So you've been in the kids ministry at the Gathering for a while now. You've done kids ministry for a long time, but now, for, close to a year, right?
Well, it's about 7 months.
7 months.
Yeah.
How are things going? How do you feel things are going?
I think things are going pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like where we're headed, and it's where the direction I wanted to go. God has kind of turned me a couple times, and no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. But I got to brag on my team.
Okay.
And,
let's brag on the team.
Our team is amazing here at the Gathering. Like,
and we're talking about kids team.
Our kids team,
okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are all okay too,
right? Right.
But you guys are all right. But my team, the team that I'm on, and I don't mean my team, I mean the team that I'm a part of, is amazing. There is such a variety of humans on my team, so many different professions, so much patience, and grace, and love, and they don't need me, on a Sunday to function.
Yeah.
They can do just fine on their own, like they did on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm so excited about, some of the things we have coming up in the summer. We're going to do a water event. I believe it's July 23rd. Don't know what it looks like yet. But we're going to do that because we're going to get down to planning stages, and we're going to spend some time outside.
But there's a date. The date is on
the calendar.
Well, it's on on Church Center app. So they got the summer dates on there. So check if you haven't been on and checked out some of the upcoming stuff for students and kids. It's on. The dates are on there. So plan your summer in advance.
Yeah, keep that date. It'll be fun. It'll be water. I don't know what kind, but it'll be water. Water. And anyway, so we're also trying to direct kids to some better biblical literacy.
Yeah.
Because that's hard to come by, especially if you don't go to Christian school and get like that class.
Well, they say that this upcoming generation is the most biblically illiterate generation that has ever existed.
Yeah, which is a real shame because it's really not that difficult.
Yeah.
It's just, a lot of tools. It's repetition. It's songs. It's, talking about at the
I know
dinner
my
table.
kids, like, we read the Bible stories at night, and my kids will be like, oh, I heard that one before. Or they, so they're hearing stuff on Sunday, and we're reinforcing that at home.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's a great thing to do. It's not that hard to do. And if any parents are out there would like some resources to do that, I'm very happy.
There's tons and tons of resources. So many good kids Bible story books.
Yep.
And I believe are we still giving out one when people come?
Yes, the best one.
Oh, it's the best read. It's written so, whoever wrote that was so gifted. Like, it's just a fun read. And I don't really enjoy reading very much. I don't enjoy reading.
I would think you would.
I loved reading that.
It's just good.
We went through it. We're reading a different one now, but I'm probably going to go back to that one again.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, I get in there and read it just to see, like, okay, well, how would this author present this story to the kids? There's a lot of things I consult for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that one's like just always spot on.
It's really good.
It's really good. It's called the Jesus Storybook Bible, by the way, and we have them here at the Gathering. If you come to the Gathering, we're going to give your kids one. And if we didn't, come ask Rebecca in the kids pod,
we'll get you one.
and I will give you one. Yeah.
Yes, it's
because
awesome.
sometimes I forget to give those, and I'm sorry because it's so great.
Yeah.
Usually it takes me like week 2 if I forget. Oh, here's your Bibles,
Yeah.
So, apologies for that if I did that to you guys. But it's a great Bible, and I would love, 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 love to give you a copy.
Yeah, it is awesome.
So, yeah, we're chucking along.
Chugging along.
Yeah.
I think you're doing a great job.
I'm trying.
You are. You're doing great. So we were tasked by David to mention the challenge for this month, since he wasn't going to be here today. He's like, hey, don't forget to mention this month's challenge. So can you tell us a little bit about this month's challenge?
Okay, so disclaimer, I don't get to sit in sermons in church. I can, but I get busy and I don't. But this month's challenge is to be still for 15 minutes once a week.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Steve, how are you doing on that?
We're halfway through the month. I'm not a good person at sitting still.
Me neither.
Like, this is a really big challenge. Like, you can ask my wife. Like, she gets so annoyed because I'm like, what are we gonna do? What are we doing?
You're one of those.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
I am. She's just kind of like, we're just gonna be at home today. I'm like, but what are we gonna do? So I'm like I like just doing stuff all the time. So this one is really tough for me. Really
it's hard
difficult.
for me too. And it might just be like, I have 2 speeds, stop and go.
So I got to do it in the morning. I got to get up early before
like
everyone
when the kids
else.
are not. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I should do.
Yes.
But I don't. I haven't done
this. Are you a
this
morning
one yet.
person?
No.
Okay.
I hate the morning.
I'm a morning person.
My husband is too.
I love the morning.
He learned real quick. Like he'd be like, when we first got married, good morning.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
So for those of you who like, John, are you in the service in the beginning part? Are you in there? So I am generally not. Like, sometimes I'll watch some of it up there, or I have to go back and watch it. I skipped over David's part this Sunday. So did he mention anything more like specifics about what he means by 15 minutes? Like, what does it look like to be still?
It means nothing. So
Doing nothing, absolutely nothing. Like, are you trying to rest your mind too? Because like when I sit still, my mind is still going a million miles a minute. It's like,
The goal is to remove distractions, embrace the stillness, so that you might be in a place that you can listen and hear and get to know God. And so, I think that's the heart of it, is to know God. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I am quiet, but I'm thinking about all the things I have to do that day, that's not really being still, because I'm stepping into worry, I'm stepping into all those things. So the goal has to be pause, stop, focus, and try to get to know God.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like the subtopic of my talk on Sunday, is get in touch with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Because the Holy Spirit is not voodoo hoodoo. The Holy Spirit is God himself, and he wants to relate to you, and he wants to talk to you. But yet here I am saying, I haven't done the challenge this month.
Is that because you're from Louisiana?
Yeah, it happens. We don't actually, do voodoo,
Sure you
down
don't.
in my hometown.
Sure.
It's not our thing.
We believe you.
Right.
What all these creepy dolls you have?
I don't have any creepy dolls. Well, I probably do, but not like voodoo
Not
ones.
intentionally creepy.
Yeah, probably have something weird.
All dolls are creepy.
Especially when you like at night, especially like if you go back to your grandma's house, she's got that room full of dolls or something.
Oh,
and you
man.
that's the room you have to sleep in when you're visiting her or something.
My aunt had these
don't
like
sleep well?
African masks on the wall. They were
Oh.
terrifying. I was so scared of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like in order to get actually 15 minutes of like calm and quiet, I probably need to take 15 minutes just to get there, so to actually, feel like I can listen to just quiet, that it probably takes a little bit of time just to warm up to.
That makes
doing
sense.
You know what I mean?
I find if I go outside, if I can do it better, outside.
Well, this is a great time of year. Maybe not today, but it's a great time of year to go outside and just, the bugs
It
aren't
is.
out yet,
I'm
but they're
loving
coming
that.
soon.
But Ohio mosquitoes,
No.
it's not that bad.
I don't know. The mosquitoes at my house are terrible.
Are they?
Oh yeah, they're terrible. Every year they're so bad. I don't know why.
Do you have water around your house?
No, not really. I'm not sure what's going on.
No, I know when I go home, I get bit 1,000. Of course, I don't react anymore because I've been bit so many times down there as a kid. But when I go home, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot how this is. Not fun.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks for spending some time with us today. We appreciate you and all you do for our kids.
Well, thank you.
And once again, great job on Sunday.
Thanks.
Thank you to the whole kids team if you're watching this.
Yes, I love you guys so much.
Yep. They do an awesome job, and
they do.
We work together a lot because a lot of first-time guests are also bringing, younger kids a lot of times. So you and I work closely on Sundays, and our little area is very close to yours intentionally because we love families. That can be really difficult bringing your family for the first time. Like that's the trickiest area of the church of like, okay, I'm coming, but I care, like I'm coming to this church and I care my kids' opinions more than I care how I feel about the church. So like
no pressure.
No pressure. Well, so that's why we keep a really close eye on it. We try to help out the kids area as much as we can.
And we appreciate that too.
We really keep a close eye on it. And
we want to disciple kids. Like that's what we do. We're excited to disciple them. So, we want to get that right.
Yep.
When families come to us, we want you to feel comfortable, like your kids are safe primarily. But, we also want them to have a lot of fun and learn a lot too. So we appreciate your team also helping us kind of make sure everybody gets the attention they deserve and they need.
And we have a great team as well.
Yeah, you do. I love your team.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.